solitary, till I'm dead and buried deep within a cemetery. I will fight, never weary, I wanna be.
We are live! Woohoo! Yay! Tonight is not gonna be. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Tackle Talk. That's right, usually it's 7:15, but somebody forgot it was Tuesday. Yeah, so a lot of stuff goes on in Beards' life in the IRL, so I don't share that with you guys, though. You know what I'm saying? Some of it's just too real to even worry about, guys. But we have got a story tonight, boys and girls. That's right, baby. Let's see who's hanging out, because we know the no notifications got out, but I hope you guys do come back and see episode 51, because we're 51 shows in, boys and girls. Let's give it a see who's in this house tonight. All right, let's see. I believe Jeff Say came in first. Robert made it. A couple more, maybe 2, 3, 4 people that aren't saying anything, but that's cool. You know, I appreciate you stopping by. For those of you guys that watch it later on, don't forget, look around. There's a lot of episodes, and there's a lot going on in this adventure, so let's get into this. Are you guys ready for this? Let's do it. Hold on, I gotta hit 2 buttons at once. This is where it gets interesting. You ready? All right, let's do it. Let's do it. I missed it. That's right. It's time for a story. You guys have no idea what's really going on right now. So let me tell you what happened today. Okay, so there I was, right? Just doing my own, nothing really crazy going on. And we get done with work, I roll out, man, we're going to jump in the boat, everything's going to be fine, right? Right? Everything's going to be fine? No. I get to the ramp, I start backing down the ramp to put the boat off, and Buddy decides to pull his boat right in behind mine. And when I say right in behind mine, I mean I got out, took my safety chain off, left myself about a foot of strap just so I could get the boat to float just a little bit and pull it out. Yeah, no, Buddy pulled right up on that. He didn't pull up in the last docking spot. No. He pulled right up to the front as if he was getting on my boat and my trailer with me. I look back, I says, hey, you see I'm launching, right? Yeah, no, I was here. It was that moment that Jesus came down and said, is this where you want to be when I come back? And I said, you know what, Jesus? No, I don't. So I'm not going to just assault a senior citizen at this moment. You know what I'm saying? So I go ahead and just pull back into the staging area as he proceeds to, I don't know. God, I know I'm getting old, and if I ever get that old, man, it's going to be rough. But it took him a while. It took him a while to get across the parking lot. I didn't say any bad words. I wasn't mean. It was a respectable thing to do, and letting the man get his trailer and his boat off there. I figured, you know what? Maybe the fishing gods will bless me for such an action. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this will be different. Maybe that guy pulling in right behind me and attempting to land his boat on my boat while it's on my trailer and I'm launching will be a way for me to, I don't know, get a little love. You know, just a little love. That's all I want. I'm not saying I needed to hit me a 10-pounder. I'm not saying that I needed to make some really big magic happen. Hey, Shawanda. I'm not saying I needed to make, like, I'm not asking for a double-digit bass because I let the senior citizen remove his boat. I'm not saying that. You know what I'm saying? What I am saying is what could go wrong has now been covered by a bit of good karma. I mean, am I right? One in the chat if you think that's good karma that I let the guy go. Okay, if you don't put anything in the chat. Leave a little comment down below if you're watching the video later, man. Are you guys throwing hate at the senior? Or are you guys, you know, kind of in the position I was in with why argue it? We're both getting out of the same place. You know, the other side was pretty occupied, and I started thinking to myself, okay, I'll just pull forward. When the other side clears up, everything will be fine. You know what I mean? I'll just back it right down that side, and we'll be all good. Now, guys, mind you, we didn't go live. Jeff, yeah, no kidding. Shawanda says 1. Jeff, I'm with you, because it was everything I had. You understand? Like I said, I walk around sometimes, all the time, on a number, and it's not a good one. Okay. See, Robert was with me on that. I know, it's just a karma thing. Jeff, I know you're not a bad guy. Sounds like you played it well. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that, because most people say that I'm like way overtuned. And listen, I'll be the first to tell you when it's necessary. The way I describe my demeanor. Okay, and I'll tell you guys this, because I have trouble sometimes. No, I don't. I have myself under control. I'm good at that. But when you go to 8 thinking, I'm going to turn it up, buddy, I went from 0 to 12, and there ain't no way. I'm good. I'm just going to tell you, I'm not the biggest guy you ever met. I'm not the smallest guy you ever met. But I will tell you that I've got another side to me, and I'm totally in control. Okay, I'm not out of control at all, but when I start to get upset, I will let you know I'm not feeling it. You know what I mean? I'm not. So, back to what we were at, okay? So, I'm waiting for the other side to maybe clear up. I counted it. It was 27 minutes that I sat in the staging area letting the 2 of these guys. One was already putting up when I pulled in, and then the other one did his thing. 27 minutes I sat. Time to break out the cannons on the Blue Pro. Jeff, I'm telling you right now. See, Shawanda, I agree with you. Anything to bring good karma. I got this whole fishing gods thing, you know what I mean? Like, I used to have this concept that everywhere you look in the water is fish, so you could just throw it anywhere. But now that we've got mega imaging, that's BS, just so we're all clear. But we're going to talk about that here in a minute, because we're still launching the boat, dude. This is what I'm trying to say. This was my day, okay? So original takeoff time was 10:15. It is now 12 o'clock. Okay, it is now 12 o'clock, and I'm getting the boat in the water. So I get the boat in the water, right? I grab on my primer ball. Everything's good. I just redid fuel lines. I didn't go live because I messed up my hip. It's bad. I didn't want you guys to see me in that light. My buddy Patty, the guy I fish with, he came over. He helped me do the fuel lines because I couldn't physically do it, man. I couldn't contort my body in that position, right? Okay, so here we go. I did that without you guys, but we know we've got new fuel lines. One of the fuel lines was totally, like, the whole inner sleeve had, like, bound up. I almost brought it in, but it smells like gas, and I don't want it in the office because of all these electronics. God forbid, gasoline electronics, right? Okay, so I turned around and I fixed that. Jay and I did. Everything's great. This is the maiden voyage 2.7.4. You know what I'm saying? This has turned into a Windows update at this point. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's only Windows Update 2.7171315.404 version 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dude. This is how I feel with the Blue Pearl, right? So I get out on the water, man. She don't start. I do the choke thing like I'm supposed to, check the primer ball again, make sure the motor's correct, everything's good. She won't start. I give a little of the spray because it's cold. Right up she goes. I'm like, all right, sweet, everything's good. Throw her in reverse. I tie her up. I pull the truck up, get a really good parking spot. So I'm like, look at me. The fishing gods are, yay. I got the best, my favorite parking spot. It's the very first one. And you know what's interesting? A little karma for you guys. The truck and trailer that pulled out of that spot was the man that I let pull in right behind me. That's right. That's right. So here we go, boys and girls. I am ready. You understand what I'm saying? Tom Cruise, Oprah Winfrey, everyone is like, today's your day. And I'm like, you know what? Today's my day, man. Today's my day. It's going to take a little bit longer, but nothing's going to go wrong. So I get out on the water. I lay into her. Boys, she pops right up. right out of the water, boys. Now I'm super stoked, you understand, because this has been the tank that I'm running my crazy mix rate, you know, where I'm really trying to figure out exactly where I need the fuel oil ratio to keep this boat in top performance. Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. If you don't get that right, you ain't going nowhere. So now I think I've got that figured out, right? Dude, I shoot across the lake. I'm talking like hat backwards, right? I'm like, man, life is, I'm telling you, man, today's my day, boys. Today, I'm telling you, we're going offshore, landing monsters today, right? Waves are just choppy. The water's terrible. I'm like, that's all right, man, because the Pearl, it weighs like 47,000 pounds and displaces like 64 tons of water. I create my own wake. Hey, what's going on, Gary? I create my own wake with this thing. Like, it has a footprint that's large. All right, it's not a big boat. It's just, it's old. You know what I mean? Old boats weigh a lot. So, not to mention how much tackle I bring. You guys know. You guys know? Okay, so here we go, right? I roll over. I grab Jay up. Man, the boat's running like a champ, dude. Running like a champ. Life is good. You understand what I'm saying? I pick Jay up. He's like, wow, this thing is running like fire, bud. I'm like, yeah, you're not kidding me, man. I'm like, well, let's go do the offshore spots. He's like, yeah, but the lake looks choppy. It looks bad. I'm like, yeah, but we're fiberglass. You know what I'm saying? We're a big V-hull fiberglass, dude. Like, we're good. I'm telling you, we're going to skit right across this thing. He's like, I'm going to time it out. I'm going to time it out. So one of our spots that used to take like, oh, God, I don't know. It felt like forever. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you're only getting one shot at that spot if we were in the pontoon boat. Not that there's anything wrong with the pontoon boat. It's just not made for what we're doing with it, right? Not that. All right, listen, it's a fishing model pontoon boat, and it's cool. Don't get me wrong, you know, but now we've got like a little rocket snap-on tool chest full of lures. You ain't kidding, Jeff. Remember when old Outlaw told you about the first time we met and I put that thing in his boat and we got sideways and he said, you can't bring that no more? No, I'm just kidding. Didn't really happen, but I did bring it and he laughed. He thought it was pretty funny. Especially considered the casters. The casters on the tackle box weighed as much as his boat. No, I'm just kidding. We could have moved his boat on it though. Okay, so back to the story, right? You guys are gonna love this. Hold on. All right. So here we go. He pulls out his phone, right? He's like, let me check how long it takes us to get there. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, what time is it now? He's like, oh, no, we're doing stopwatch. And he hits go, right? I slam down on the Blue Pearl, boys. And I mean, she goes, bam, and just planes right out, dude. We're rolling. I mean, this thing's fire. Whoa! I'm adjusting trim little bits. We're looking at each other like, wow, man, this thing is bad. You know what I'm saying? Dude, we got across the lake to a spot that we like to fish in, what did he say? 3.5 minutes. Just under 3.5 minutes. It was like 3:22 from engine start to engine off at our spot. It was like 3 minutes and 22 seconds. It used to be a portion of our trip was dedicated to going over to this spot. So to give you an idea, all of a sudden we are in a whole nother level. We are elated. We are ecstatic. Everything is going exactly as planned. Okay? The Pearl is ready to rock and roll. Life is good. Nothing can go wrong. Or can it? So there we were, back in the old stomping grounds. We decided to go down the channel, which was kind of cool. You know, we went down Helena Run. We haven't done that in a while, but I was like, man, I got this mega imaging. Like, and Helena Run, if those of you that know where I'm talking about, down here on Lake Harris, not very big. So I could keep my side imaging set to where I like it, right? And I'm literally looking at both sides of the bank. Now this is really cool because now I get to transition between two of the chain lakes and mega image it all the way through as long as I roll the trolling motor, right? Because part of today's test, you guys, was making sure that we have enough power to do this. I mean, last thing we want to do is get out on the lake and everything's dead 4 hours into the trip. So this has been like, you know, a lot of stuff going on, you know? We find the coolest thing in the world. Now, I meant to get all this stuff off the head unit tonight. I actually saved it. I did some data rides or some screen records for you guys on the mega image. I have mega imaging. Good God, I can't believe I forget that. But I have screen records for you guys. And what I wanted to do tonight, which was all part of my plan today that was thwarted, it happens. It's IRL, boys and girls, right? Was to show you guys one of the things that we found, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen under the water. Guys, we found a 10-foot alligator laying on the bottom of the water, and I'm telling you that the mega imaging, you could make out his snout to his jaw where it gets a little bit bulbous, to his body segment, to his 2 arms in the front, to his 2 arms in the back, to his tail at an angle. And he was sitting right there, tucked up on the bottom, just waiting. And we physically look, we could see him. We could see him. Water's pitch dark black. You can't see like there's zero clarity, zero. The pollen layer on the top of the water is so great that you couldn't tell there was water under it at this point. That's how bad this area is. Next time Buddy's live, ask him about Helena Run, because he was on it and he looked at me and was like, dude, everything on this river is dead. I'm like, nope, there's fish here. And one of our other buddies, Ruggles, caught a fish out there during the last tournament when he was out there. He was like, dude, I would have never went down there. He's like, my best fish of the day came out of that spot. And I was like, yeah, that's why I go back there, you know? So nonetheless, we got to see this really awesome alligator, okay? But it gets better. Because although we didn't catch any fish, and we didn't even see any fish, like that's what was crazy. I started thinking, dude, maybe one of my settings is off. So we're going to tail off to another spot. We're going to do the old timer again. Now, mind you, I had a half a tank of gas in my mixed tank, right? I had a full tank of gas in my pre-mixed. That was the one I made a couple of weeks ago. Hey, what's going on, Mark Pappas? That's the tank I made a couple of weeks ago. But we're still on this super tank. Like, this is the one that's got the boat running like fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get it. Let's get it, right? So here we go. We hit out of Helena Run because it's a no-wake area. And as soon as we hit the thing, we were going to another spot. And I mean, I ride. We're there. It's like just that quick, dude. There's like 4 other boats there, but they're like crappie fishing and they're kind of scattered out, right? So I was fine with that because all I got to do is stick the mega imaging down. And we're searching 200 feet left and right if I want to go 200 feet. But I keep it down to within cast distance. Right now, I'm learning the mega imaging at like 40 feet. And then I'm going to push it out to 60 depending on the area that I'm fishing in, right? But I'm learning all this. And we just looked at an alligator. This is epic, right? So we start tooling around in a couple of the areas we used to fish, right? And I see it. And boys, I say I see it. Now, mind you, I'm still getting used to the size of things and you know, what it looks like on the imaging software. It's very detailed, but when I say I don't understand the size, when you guys get a chance to see some of the video that I've recorded, some of the screen recordings, you're totally going to get what I'm talking about because I've got a few things of different size that are going to give you guys an aspect ratio to where I can set my mega imaging so it's as detailed as it can be from that area up. Like from this size fish at this far out, I know that picks up this fish. And if I only see those, that's all I need to throw at. If it cuts everything smaller than that out, great. You know what I'm saying? I won't even bother casting in that direction unless I really need a fish, right? So here we go. Oh, we already did that one. Hold on. Goodness. We're back in there. All right, so here we go. I see. We got this system Patty and I worked out, right? And how we're going to do this. Because the transducer is mounted up on the front of the boat on the trolling motor, it's not like a normal transducer mount, which is on the rear or the bow of the boat, right? Aft, whatever they decide, however you want to term it. So most of the hey, Pam, what's up? You're ready for story time. Pam came in right at the right time. So the majority of your transducers, which is the unit that actually sends out the little microwaves that fry the fish and cause cancer. No, I'm just kidding. The sonar waves, right? So it receives back and it can give you an image of what's on the bottom, like we learned about when we watched the video. Okay, so here we go. We got this system, and as we approach literally to my 9 o'clock and my 3 o'clock, my port, my starboard, all right? As soon as I see a fish, I call it out to Patty, and I don't even have to readjust course or speed, because if I just call out port or starboard and give a distance, we can both target that fish pretty immediately. I can call 2 fish, I can call 4 fish, and we'll know just based on how fast I'm going and how I have the mega imaging set. As long as I've got a distance, boys, we can hit fish. And I've been telling Patty about this, and we did it the other day, right? Well, we are going to try it again today. That's how I looked at it. Well, we find it. Now, I've got a mark, boys, on my left side that as soon as I saw it, it turned, which had me believing right off the rip, this is a beast. You understand what I'm saying? This is that bass that I have been looking for, and now I know the size of these things on the mega imaging. Dude, we're gonna hook this up, right? So I told Patty, I'm like, port side 40. He's like, what? I'm like, go. And we both just threw about 35, 40 yards out, right? Now this fish was probably moving, looked like it was moving towards us when he made that turn. So I was thinking, okay, well, let's just I told Patty, I'm like, just drop your bait down to the bottom, dude, and bring it across the bottom slow. And I'm telling you right now, dude, there is a monster down there. I'm looking at it on the mega imaging. You understand what I'm saying? I just can't see in relation to exactly where he is on the bottom. But boys, I can tell you, I have got this thing pinned. I am locked. You guys are going to see it if I can get that footage to transfer maybe the next live. Maybe the next live we'll talk about mega imaging. But so anyway, dude, Patty goes, oh, bud. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Hey, Faye, what's going on? Dude, Patty is locked into something, and I'm not kidding. It is a beast. This thing is not even breaking the visible section of the water column yet, but there are boils coming up. And all I'm thinking is, dude, I just put Patty on like a 10+ pound bass that's just over here prowling. You understand what I'm saying? Because we're right off some bed areas, and this might be like a really big female that's getting ready to go in and just start eating those little males, right? Well, I'm not thinking about my camera. We weren't live because there's no signal over there for you guys, right? Guess what? Dude, he comes up with this thing, his whole rod. Now, look at this. This is what it looks like. This is what his rod looks like this, and it is doing this. And he is holding his rod vertical, and this thing is bent down. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what does he have? Up from the depths, boys, comes a head this wide with a snout all of 18 inches. Patty has hooked up a 5.5 foot, almost 22 pound alligator gar. Boys and girls, this thing, I attempted to reach in. What's going on, John? I attempted to reach in and grab this thing until I realized, and I say this wholeheartedly, as I went to grab it, I realized it is longer than me stretched out. This thing is like a huge submarine just surfaced right there on the side of the boat, okay? This is absurd, the size of this thing. I looked at Patty. He's laughing. I'm laughing, right? He's like, dude, I just won, I think, the world's largest trash fish award. No kidding, Pam. You guessed it. It just sounded too good to be true, right? Well, it was true. We saw not a single fish in that area after he hooked that giant gar. And we realized that that gar has been over there literally. This thing, guys, it was all of 14, maybe 16 inches of just snout. And it was this wide, which is very unusual because most of the time you see them, they're like maybe 3/4 of an inch. You know, an inch wide snout's big. No. This thing was this wide. All the way down. Massive. When he closed his mouth, there was easily an inch and a half, maybe 2 of, well, inch and a half would be a conservative. I'm going to say inch and a quarter, inch and a half of teeth overhang. This thing was built for just crushing stuff. So Finder is smaller on the screen than it appears. No, the fish finder showed me a massive mark, and it was massive. Catch, clean, cook. Oh, Michael, you're not kidding, dude. This thing, its girth was all of this, boys. And this is probably 22 inches around. Easy. Like, and I'm not exaggerating. This was probably alligator gar, John. Yep, that's exactly what it was. Wide snout. Yeah, this was a big dude. This thing, I'm telling you, John, it was 5.5 foot if an inch, buddy. I'm not kidding. At one point, I was going to grab it and get a picture with it, and then we both thought about that real quick when that thing really came up next to the boat, and we realized that this thing's like almost a third of my boat. Like, it's literally coming, like, this is big, dude. There was no grabbing this thing out without somebody getting eaten. Like, that's all I was thinking, too. I looked at him, I'm like, let me give you my pliers, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at this point, get a bigger net. You know what I'm saying? Like, this thing needed, like, one of them big pike nets, you know what I'm saying? The guys up north with their giant cast net bag that hangs under it. Yeah, that's what we needed, because I mean, it would have been the coolest picture for you guys too. And I told Patty, I'm like, this is what happens when we're not filming, we're not rolling. Oh, snap your hand. Yeah, Pam, this thing had teeth to do damage. Gar pike. Yeah, well over 6 foot. Yeah, Mark, this is what I'm saying. Like, this was one of those, but this was a Florida alligator gar. This thing, buddy, this was beautiful. It was majestic AF, boys and girls. You understand what I'm saying? Like, all I was thinking was, this is what happens when you don't go live. You know what I'm saying? And I just decided we got no signal over here. Let's just go. 20 years old. Yeah, John, I said the same thing. 20, 30-year-old fish. Yeah, man. No, this thing was massive. Highly protected. Yeah, no, we released it without incident. Yeah, no injuries, no damage, man. The hook came out clean. We didn't split nothing. We didn't mess nothing up. We did it right there in the water. I mean, we did it right. Like, this was majestic, boys and girls. Like, there was no, let's just jerk it out. No. This was okay. Keep it calm. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just work that hook, and hopefully this thing will be real calm, and it will just get that. Like I said, it was only stuck on one treble hook. One treble hook was all that had in this thing's mouth. Took it right out, man. Dinosaur. That's exactly what I was going to call it, John. I was telling Jay, I was like, dude, during that whole thing, we should have just got a real quick picture and been like, dinosaur of the day. Like, there it was next to my boat. Like, I should have just, but I really wasn't concerned with that, because we were thinking, oh my God, like, this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. So we know the really big marks on the mega imaging are dinosaurs for sure, and alligators, because we got a chance to see those today too. A barracuda flashback. Yeah, Jeff, remember I told you about that barracuda that time we were scalloping? Oh my God, that was such a long time ago we had that episode. But wait, there's more. Guys, we still haven't even discussed what happened yet. So here we go. Starts to get about 1:40. I got to get Jay back to his house. He's got some things to do, parenting duties. Bah! We are on it, boys. No problem. She fires right up, jumps out of the water. Silent, dude. Motor's just purring. Like, you can't even hear it back there. Twice I looked back to make sure it was still on the boat. I'm not kidding you at all. I'm like terrified that one of these days, man, I'm gonna come on playing with this thing, and that motor's just gonna go, and I'm not even gonna realize it until all of a sudden the boat loses power because there's nothing there. Pam says, I hate alligators, even though they're actually dinosaurs. Yeah, no, Pam, but they're cool to look at on Mega Imaging. Just so you know, if you want to spend a bunch of money, you can look at alligators underwater. They look really neat. But anyway, so that's my fear, is that eventually this motor's going to come off. But I get Jay back to the house, and he says, what are you going to do? Calm before the storm. That's how it is, John. You ready? So Jay says, what are you going to do? I says, well, I got this other tank of fuel over here, man. You know what I'm saying? And the last thing, we just redid all the lines, right? But we've only been running out of this one tank. I was like, I'm probably going to pull back out on the lake, dude, and click over to that other tank and just rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? Get some fuel moving. Make sure that fuel is still good, because it's been, 2 weeks, which is horrible. I put a little bit of sea foam in it. Hopefully that'll settle it up, you know. I didn't get a chance to do that stuff, John. What is it? StarTron. I didn't get a chance to get any of that. I haven't even been doing anything like that, right? I've been working. So I used to love that show. They shot him. The guy named Troy used to say, shoot him. Yeah, no, we all love that show, Pam. So here we go, right? So I'm out in the middle of the lake, and I says, you know, I'm going to go to the weigh-in. I'm going to take off from our start spot. Oh, wait. About 10 minutes before my last lower blew, I said, damn, the old girl's running smooth. Yeah, John, John, just listen close, bud. Just listen, because you don't give it away, John. Don't give it away, because this is good. Okay. So I says, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to warp speed over here, man. I'm going to the weigh-in where I know it is, from a few key points in the lake, burn this fuel up, put some fresh new fuel in it tomorrow. Everything's going to be golden. Check my filter. Filter's clean. Everything's clean. Everything's running beautiful. The Pearl is ready to go. Scream out. I get from where I need to be to the weigh-in, which is on another lake. I go to another lake in like 13 and a half minutes. Now, boys, I mean, the Pearl's fast. She ain't like setting no water records or nothing. But let me tell you something. For an old girl, she's cutting 35, 40 mile an hour, no problem. Like, no problem. John already knows. No, he doesn't know yet, but he knows. But, yeah, she's moving, dude. This old 150 Merc, I got her tuned. I got things working right now, and we are ready to go. So I warp speed over there. I run over to the bridge on the other lake to take a picture for a buddy of mine. I sent it to Outlaw. I sent it to you guys, too, on the community page for those of you to check that out, right? And I was like, guess who left the lake? You know what I'm saying? So I whip it around. I come back under the bridge. I check my fuel, right? One last bang before yeah, here we go. I check the fuel. It's got about 1/8 of a tank. I says, you know what? Stop. Power down. Give it a little throttle so I don't get that big wave that comes over the back, because when I say this thing displaces like 20 metric tons, it does. The wave that comes up on this thing will hit me in the seat, you know, and I run the bilge. There's nothing in there. You don't sit low. It's just that wave, right? So here we go. I switch over the tank. Now, mind you, this is the first time the tank's been switched over since we redid all the fuel lines. So more than likely, there's going to be a little residual air in there from the switch. Once I go ahead and switch it over, the line in the primer ball should cause a vacuum, which should pull that air out. I should look at the fuel filter, see the fuel filter have fuel, then not have fuel, then begin to fill. Right? Right. That's what Oprah said. So I do the whole process. Primer ball's good. Everything's good. I throw her into gear. What? She pops in. She's ready to go. We bounce. We start bouncing. I get probably 30 yards, boy. And I'm not kidding. Probably 30 yards. She dies. Wow. I said, you gotta be kidding me. I go to the back. Primer ball's still got fuel in it, but the filter is empty. Which means I'm not getting a vacuum. I'm losing pressure. Something's not right somewhere in this connection to the tank, right? You ain't running it right if you don't get a wave on the back once in a while. John knows what I'm talking about. That's how you know you working it. Yeah, it's two-stroke life, baby. Yeah, we're shut off, boys. Go ahead and prime that ball again. She gets fuel back. The ball's hard as a rock now, mind you. But I am not getting any fuel into the filter. I can see it. It's running it dry. And I don't know what's going on. So I fire her up again. Whoa! She goes, boys. We're rocking. Yeah! I I go back to the back of the boat. Yep. Again, ball's full, filter's empty, not getting any fuel coming through. So I give it the love. You know what I'm talking about. It's okay. I didn't hurt nothing, but you know where I'm coming from. Sometimes things just need love, and some people's love is different than other people's love, and mine might be different from yours, but we're going to call it love because love sounds nicer. So I gave it some love, right? No big deal. Boys, when I say that suddenly a rush of trash, I think I saw a Now and Later wrapper. There was some leaf debris. I don't even want to tell you what came flooding into the filter at this point. Now, boys, there's like 2.5 foot swells, okay? And I'm no power. And now it looks like I'm going to have to take this filter off, dude. Vent on the tank open. No, John, check that. No, very good point, John. I appreciate it. Buddy, you're teaching me stuff. I had a feeling that there might be one, so I triple to check that. Just for that reason. I was like, before I call somebody and let them know that I'm stuck, let me just check and make sure. No, vent's good. Vent's good. Okay, so we're good there, man. Well, here we go. I emptied it out. I pull the filter off. I get all the crap out of it, right? I'm looking for a place to wash the filter housing off. Yeah, you heard me. I'm looking for a place to wash the filter housing off in the middle of the lake. There is waves splashing up all over the boat now at this point. And I've got the whole filter system open on the back of the boat. But it gets better. So I put this whole thing back together. We talked about cleaning that tank out. Yeah, John, we did. But it gets better, John. It gets better because I did clean one of the tanks out, John. The other one was still full of fuel, which we're on that tank now. The lake, yes. I'm out in the middle of Harris, Mark Pappas, on the boat. And I'm looking for a place to clean the filter housing off. Yeah, no, I know. This is where I'm having a hard time, right? Because I'm stressing, bro. I'm starting to do stupid stuff, like wondering how I'm going to wash this thing off when I can just do like this off the side of the boat and everything's fine. No, I'm having trouble thinking, all right? Squeeze the ball to clean the filter. Yes, okay, here we go. So, I set this thing back up. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. We got fuel. But it's like a 75-year-old man's prostate fuel. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there is no flow to this bad boy. If we're catching a drip after 5.5 minutes of fuel, I'm like, woohoo, mission accomplished, okay? It's been like an hour. I am still fiddling with this thing. I have been driving 30 yards and shutting off, and 30 yards and shutting off, and 30 yards and shutting off. And then the wind has turned me around several times. And now I'm like losing my bearing because where am I? Like I'm in places on the lake where I've never been because I'm literally getting blown into areas of the lake that I have never been. Okay, I'm not getting nervous or nothing. I can kick on any piece of electronics and find out where I am. But the problem is we're not keeping fuel in this thing long enough to go, which is scary. It's super duper scary. Super scary. Okay. I'm really concerned now that I've just blown the fuel pump because a buddy of mine. Oh, yeah, no, Pam, I didn't say a single bad word, Pam. There was, after the love on the filter that almost cost me the glass, these issues keep repair shop open. Thanks. Yeah. Okay, but it gets better, John. Hold on, because you guys are going to love this. When this whole thing fingers out, you'll see. At this point, I've replaced the fuel line. I've replaced the fuel filters. I've replaced just about everything except for the only thing that I can think of at this point would be the fuel pump. Because I've checked the vents, they're closed. I've checked the tanks, they're good to go. I switch now back over to the good fuel tank. I got nothing. I'm not, it's 70-year-old prostrate dripping, fuel. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing going on here, right? Trolling motor in the way. And Mark, don't even say that, dude. Because I'm like 45 minutes of real driving away You understand what I'm saying? Like I'm in another lake. There's no trolling motor back in 2.5 foot swells, buddy. That's not happening. It's get to the beach and ask if you can use somebody's truck, or get a ride back to your boat slip so you can get your boat, and your trailer and your truck. Okay, so here we go. Dude, I take this filter off all again. Again, I gave it love. You guys know what I'm talking about. Softly. I feel better about this thing, right? I feel better about that. Well, I just so happened to look at the rings where the filter housing is. The O-ring gaskets. And I see one that's got some stuff on it. And I'm like, I got to clean that off. I clean that off. I look at the other side. And where I'm supposed to see a fuel line with a hole in it, right? I see a fuel line with what appears to be a check ball. Well, that's odd because I never put a check ball in there. Why there would be a check ball in the fuel line would be absurd. So I get a screwdriver out and I reach down in there and see if I can move this thing, right? Any of you guys got palm trees? One in the chat if you've got a palm tree. Anybody in here got a palm tree in their yard? Okay, well, palm trees have a very specific little seed that the birds like to eat. And they're exactly 3/8 in diameter. And somehow one of these things was in my tank, got pulled up through the fuel line, and was literally stuck just before the filter. In exactly 3/8 of an inch. Palm berries, nailed it. John knows exactly what I'm talking about. Those are exactly 3/8 of an inch, John, in circumference, just so you know. And if they do fall into your tank or somehow end up in your tank, you will find that they fit right in the fuel lines. So I reached down there and I proceeded to surgically remove this thing, which was taut at this point. You understand? It was tight. It was snug. I pulled this thing out, boys, and I burned an entire tank of gas at max speed in the Blue Pearl, boys, and we are ready to go. That's right. I'm going to call it, boys. Yes, yes, yes. We are ready to frickin' go. We have done it. I think we have successfully put the Blue Pearl into her peak running performance. I am going to tell you, as long as we can keep the batteries charged and no more problems, boys and girls, we are tournament ready. I am so happy, dude. I was so happy that even the old gas, the 2-week-old gas that just had its 50-50 mix with a tad bit of about 10 ounces of sea foam in it, just to keep it for the water settling in there. Dude, fire. She was not smoking, burning clean, dude. Things are looking ready to go to the next issue. You got it, John. But there ain't going to be no issues this time, John. Pre-fishing went fantastic. Mega imaging, got it down. Know what I'm looking for. I know what really big things are. I know what really small things are. I've hit my spots. Have you found any release spots? Yes. Yes. We know exactly where things are happening. What's up, Wes Sims? We know where things are happening. We are on it. Patty's got the rear imaging because we've got another unit on the back for him. He knows how to use that. Like, we're finding fish front and back now, boys. Like, we are a mobile command center. You understand what I'm saying? There is a Proposition 65 warning that I got to get people of. Good for you, John. Couple charters. Nice. We are up and ready to go, boys. It looks like things are going to fire. It looks like we might be good to go. We're going to get through this weekend for sure. I'm putting some fancy gas in her tomorrow. Going to make it all fresh and clean and new. Thursday, she gets dropped in the water and brought over to the slip, which is a whole 300 feet from the house. And we are on that bad boy Friday morning. Looks like the work schedule is hooking it up. It's going to look good. We're taking swings at Biggs, boys. We are taking swings at Biggs. We are ready to do this, man. I think we got this down. I really do. I'm really, really optimistic about our opportunity and our chance to make this thing happen this time. I'm super stoked. But like I said, that palm, what are they called, John? Palm, oh, he just said it. Palm berries, yes. Never before in all my life. I think they said that at the Titanic launch. That was the joke. John got it right off the bat. There's nothing that could go wrong. It's the Titanic. Come on, dude. It's going to be great. Come on, everybody. We're streaking through the quads and into the gymnasium. Snoop a loop. No more dinks for the Dink Master. Wes, I only cast 8 times today. In 3.5 hours, because we were literally just looking. And when we did find fish, we found them. And when we did find a really big alligator gar, we found him too. But I did find a lot of little fish that weren't even worth my time. There was no reason. You know what I mean? Like, I'm catching them on beds, little males. The females aren't anywhere around them. I would see them. Standing on the bow now with arms out. Yeah, that's exactly it, John. That was me on the trolling motor. Remember the maiden voyage, for those of you guys that were on the maiden voyage. What's the forecast looking like, Pam asks? Yeah. So it looks like this is possibly going to be the worst fishing time. Let's pull it up on the Bass app. I should have had this connected, you guys. I'm terrible. I'm like the worst host of a show. I really am. Let's check the Bass forecast. Bass forecast. Let's check for the date that I'm looking for. That's going to be Friday. Oh, beautiful. So Friday, guys, is a 4.6, which is just 0.1 better than it was today. Saturday comes in at a beautiful 3.8, falling into a red on Sunday at 3.2. That's right, boys and girls. This is going to be one of the most difficult fishing tournaments I think you could ever want to get involved in, because we went from having epic highs and beautiful warming trends and all the pundits talking about Harris is on a warming trend. We might be surprised this year, some of the big bass, because this is a Cabela's series, it's televised and stuff. We might be surprised. And I watch these guys and I'm like, man, I know what they're talking about. Oh, they're saying this and oh, they're saying that. We might actually hit a different lake on Saturday. We did talk about that. But then looking at the bass numbers, like the forecast numbers, this is going to be rough, dude. There's people saying 4-pounders are going to compete for money. So I'm, hearing that, it's like, well, I mean, that's not really that, not exciting, because, I mean, if we got 5 people weighing in 4-pounders, like, that's going to be a bit ridiculous. Usually a 4-pounder will sneak in. It just depends if they have 10 fish or not for the weigh-ins for the hour. But, yeah, no. They're talking about it might be a 4-pounder, it might be an 8-pounder that takes the series, and I'm like, well, that's a big change considering you guys were just talking about that warming trend nonsense. And nope, that's not and full moon, John. I'm with you. Trust me, I am seeing every element for this being just a grind, but that's okay. And I'll tell you why that's okay. Because as long as every time I get in the Pearl and she starts, we will consider that a win if she makes 3 solid days of fishing without an epic repair. Like, that's where I'm at with this. If she gets in, if we get in and she starts, dude, we'll start there. I know the trolling motor works. I put it on myself. I know all the electronics work. I put it on myself. I'm now getting into the motor. It looks like things are starting to work. Let's see what happens when I get a little time in. Let's put some work on her. Let's get some work on her. Let's see what she's got. But I'm really stoked, you guys. Pre-fishing was a nightmare. It really was. But we got everything done. I mean, guys, think about it. For those of you guys that have been hanging out over the last couple of weeks, man, Charter Thursday should be good for next cold front. Yeah. That's what's John. Listen, it's got me rethinking a lot of our spots, and we did a lot of traveling today. Like I said, I burned 20. It cost me $74 today to do a lot of discovering spots. If you understand where I'm coming from, just looking, not even fishing, just a giant gar. Literally a giant dinosaur to show for the day. Other than that, it was just pretty much just looking, and waiting and wondering, and hoping and wishing and praying for you. Yeah, no, that's how it feels. Like we were expecting the cold to come through, we just got to see if we can get their mouths open. Just eat some lead weights and some fish fillet. Yeah, Jeff, you're not kidding, dude. Listen, that already came up in one of the forums. Somebody said the same thing, that they're like, we got to check for lead weights before anybody can weigh in fish. I'm like, oh my God. But if you think about it, the way they're talking about, we might be talking about an 8-pounder could take the whole series. I'm like, oh boy, deeper holes near shallows, even only a foot or so deep. Yeah, John, like I said, got the mega imaging, man. I hooked up the Navionics. I've got the Navionics connected from here to the Humminbird unit. On the boat, I've got Navionics Plus, and been doing a lot of spot checking. Got my own little pattern set up where I think transitions are going to occur, and I did that based on movements of fish that we'd tracked over the last couple of weeks. We've been out, this is the second week of pre-fish. I've been tracking now going on 2 weeks, John. I'm taking your advice, man. I'm paying close attention. Trust me. I've got my spots, and I'm making my moves. My trolling motor skills are getting really good. I like the way I've got my whole setup going now. I like the way I've got my my little TV set up, and I can watch it and do my thing. But I have noticed I'm not dedicating as much time to spots now, and I'm being a lot more efficient with my time on the water, which is what Humminbird and Minn Kota said they would do for me. That's funny. That is pretty funny. Yeah, they're not going far. Yeah, John, I agree. Don't worry. Like I said, we've been mapping. Been doing a lot of mapping. I've been doing a lot of studying, and we went out today and did a lot of live graphing. So I've got a lot of stuff to look over once I transfer this stuff to my computer. I was going to try to do it tonight before the show, but there was just no time. Read the water, not the screen. Listen, I know, John, I agree, but like today I used birds. Today, I literally just looked for a mass of birds out on open water and rolled over to them and watched it. And there was fish there, and there was a bait school, and there was fish rolling around on the bait school. So I'm learning my transition now to deeper waters. Offshore angling is my new attempted process. So there's going to be a lot of heavy drop weights. There's going to be some drop shot. There's going to be some jerk bait, 10-plus jerk baits. There's going to be some heavyweight. There's going to be some Carolina rigs. We're going to be doing some stuff. That screen can spin you out, then it else fails. Just fish. You got this. Thanks, John. I appreciate that, man. I really do. Hey, what's going on, Mark? Yeah, I'm using what I'm really doing, John, and Jason and I talked about this today. I mean, we're visually inspecting, because remember, transducer is mounted on the trolling motor, so I can't see any electronics until the trolling motor's down. So the entire fish, where the idea comes for where fish are, there's no electronics involved in that. That's all, like you said, reading the water, paying close attention to what's going on, having an idea of transition areas that I've been to a few times. Then once I pull the trolling motor down, that's when the hunt begins. I'm on the hunt for red October at that point. I've turned the boat, I've pushed the transform button. It is now a destroyer, and it is hell-bent on finding a submarine, and I am doing search patterns, and I'm locating fish in larger areas than I usually travel outside of, but offshore areas as well as transition areas. And here transitions are interesting, because here in Harris, there's areas that transition from 4 feet to 6 feet to all of a sudden 18 feet and then back up to 8 feet. So it's like, and if you don't know where those areas are, you're missing it. You're missing out. Now, granted, a lot of the boys that are going to be fishing this weekend, they know those areas. And Jay and I were laughing about that today, because I'm going to be the new guy this weekend talking about, nosing up with my trolling motor. And excuse me, I just seen everybody fishing here. I figured I'd come in to see what y'all doing, See what you guys are looking at here. Let me see what you guys are doing. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But that's what a lot of these areas are going to turn into Harris. Yeah, John, building confidence. Yep. That's kind of where I'm at with it, man. And then I pick up my Billy Baru, the all-inclusive bait. That's one of my confidence, moves. But then again, I've also got a lot of other techniques. I listen, y'all can laugh at me. I throw a drop shot. Not going to lie, I throw a drop shot in Florida. There's areas on my lake where that drop shot's a great idea. I keep it about 24 to 30 inches off the bottom. I've got grasses in this, my lake that run anywhere between 18 and 20. So at 24 inches, 30 inches, my little bait sitting right there on top of the grass, and that weight lodged in the grass, and me just working that technique and moving that little bait on a vertical plane, because or horizontal, because those drop shots, they just hold off horizontal. That's another technique that I'm going to be utilizing this weekend in some of these deeper transition areas, because like you said, John, I got a feeling if they're not pushed up, they're pushed off. And if they're pushed off, that's fine too, because all I have to do is, again, use my fish eye, my eye, where I'm at, where I usually catch fish, because I caught fish for a good number of years without ever knowing anything about electronics. I'll use that to get me in an area. I'll use the electronics to scope that area. A few times I've done it, we've come up on fish. A few times we've done it, and we've come up on nada. So, it's all about time management. We're learning that. And that's something that I'm really hoping that this tournament we get. If anything positive comes out of this tournament, I hope it is the utilization of time management, because I'm thinking that's going to be the key. I think finding the fish, I think everybody's going to find them in one way or another. I really do, because a lot of this lake is community areas. There's a lot of areas that aren't community areas too, and the locals know them. So it's kind of a back and forth. It's kind of a back and forth with some of the offshore areas. But I'll be targeting some deeper fish. I really will. I'm confident enough with the mega imaging and the way I can read it and the way it's set up and my style, my techniques of finesse fishing. I don't think it's not going to be a thrown a jerkbait day. If we end up offshore, John, it's going to be what would Jason do? What would John do? That's great. What would WWJ? What would John do? Yeah, no, it's not going to be anything, John, where there's going to really be any structure, man. It's going to be like you said. There's going to be a small recessed hole. There's going to be a small, maybe 4 to 5 foot in diameter little hill that comes up a foot or two. I've got a few areas that are like that I know fish tend to congregate around, because it's the only thing around in a big, massive spawning flat. Which is not as funny as it sounds, it's actually not a spawning flat, it's just a flat. And they just transition from that rock, that big, pile, right on to the next little highway that takes them to the next place they're going. So I'm hoping to be in the position at the right time. Next thing to talk about is how long to stay and where. So Patty and I got a couple of days. We're going to do the fuel in the boat tomorrow. I'm going to get the other tanks filled up and be ready to rock and roll. So I've got enough to fill up twice in case I need to fill up twice in a day. I'll bring that down, leave it at the dock. So that'll be where I need it to be when that time comes. But guys, it's on. It is on. We are going to do this. We're going to do this. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Small recessed holes are good. Yes. Not that bad of a front. My guess they will be 4-footish buried in grass. Yeah, see, I don't have the same vegetation you do, John. I don't have the same vegetation. A lot of mine's eelgrass, as opposed to there's very few areas where I'm going to be able to find hydrilla. Not on my lake. If I go to the next lake, I'm in Drilla World, and that would be fantastic. Tucked in their blankets. Yep. Yeah, no, I'm watching it. Trust me, I can see right in those things. I found something really interesting today when I was looking at the alligator too. I actually caught a fish hiding in a hole on the root system of a tree, and I seen him. We both seen him. We pointed it out. We were both kind of laughing because we had this perfect picture of the root system of this tree under the water. Like you could see it, and then you seen his little head. And it like just came out like this, and we were laughing so hard, dude. I was like, "Look at that little fish, man! He's, what do you want? What do you want?" Because we're beating and we're knocking off his tree there, bouncing weights off his tree. Come on, what do you want? What do you want? His big lip. Well, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Faye. I love the eelgrass too, John. Trust me, if you get it right and you can find them, they'll come up. They'll come up. Here, a patch of eelgrass holds aggressive fish. Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's a real easy lay down for them, John. It's not as dense as the Drilla. They try to stay up in the root systems in the Drilla if they want to tuck in, but in the eelgrass, they set right down in it. And you wouldn't even know they were there because once they start moving a little bit, that grass comes right up around them. And it's a pretty, like I said, don't want to give away all the secrets, but again, I'm with you. I'm learning. I'm learning. Hey, what's going on, Scott? Appreciate it, Mark. I appreciate it. But hey, listen, guys. I appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. Awesome seeing everybody. Good luck, Jay. Thanks, John. Again, I'll keep you updated. You're one of the people that's on my update list, man. I'm hoping to hoist, bro. This is a name day. That's what I'm trying to make myself here is pulling something out here on my home lake. And thank you, Robert. Thank you very much. I'm hoping to pull something out on my home lake, man, and really make a little stink for myself and the Blue Pearl. But guys, listen. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. We might have a weekend update. Keep your eyes peeled if you want. If you're new to the channel, if it's your first time here in the show, or if it's your first time hanging out, hit the button. If you don't want to hit the button, then look through some of the other content, man, and see if you want to hang out. And I'll see you guys next week at 7:15. $20 to give us a shout out in your winning speech. Oh my God, John, you ain't got to give me $20. I'm gonna thank you, Oprah, Outlaw, Tom Cruise, all them folks. But listen, guys, I appreciate it. Remember, it's been real. It's been fun. We'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.